Mycorrhizal fungi are the drivers of all plant life on this planet. So we owe our existence to fungi, to mycorrhizal fungi.
So mycorrhizal fungi are fungi that live in symbiosis with plants. And they exchange water and nutrients to the plants, and they receive sugars from the plants. So it's a beneficial relationship for both the fungus and the plant.
Mycorrhizal fungi are kind of part of mycology that's still somewhat in the mist. We understand some of it, but we don't understand a lot of it. And they exist in different strata in the soil, and oftentimes they are within community, and they will do things like employ bacteria to mine minerals off of rocks. That's amazing. So they're kind of farming or creating these communities, these polycultures, so that they can exist and allow us to have this life above the soil. And it used to be thought that what we see above the ground is actually dictating what's going on under the ground, according to minerals, microclimates, etc. But it's actually quite the opposite. The fungi are actually the drivers of life on this planet. One of the things I kind of see fitting into what we are doing here is helping develop a lot of the mycorrhizals for farms to help the farmers in the surrounding bioregion, so that we can use the indigenous mycorrhizal mushrooms to hopefully help people increase production on their farms and have less inputs into their farming operation. So it makes it easier for them to farm more food on the same amount of land, or even scale back and produce the same amount of food on a smaller plot of land. But I would also like to maybe even teach those farmers how to capture those mycorrhizals on their own property, because the more of those that we can use, the better off we're going to be. We're not going to be relying on mycorrhizals that are produced in California and then being brought here and introduced into our bioregion. We're not really, and I like to also caution people about using the commercial mycorrhizals that are available in a lot of the garden centers. Just be cautious with that. You can harvest your own with just, you don't need a full lab. You don't need a lot of tools. It can be a very simple way to harvest those, capture those, and cultivate those, and then introduce those into your in your garden or farm, or even forest. And that's one of the things too, is like there's a lot of areas that have been deforested, and there's a lot of mycorrhizals that are important to restore those habitats. And we as humans can kind of kickstart that, instead of just letting it happen on its own. Happening on its own, it can take 50 years or so. But if we introduce the things back into the forest as those trees start to grow back, we can increase that soil fertility very, very quickly. So mycorrhizals, myco meaning mushroom or fungi, and rhizal meaning root. So there's several different types of mycorrhizals. I'm not going to go too deep into those, but what they do is they either surround root hairs. The mushroom mycelium will surround the root hairs and exchange nutrients. So fungi, just like humans, we exhale CO2, we breathe oxygen. Plants are the opposite, but just like fungi, we cannot produce our own carbohydrates, but plants do. And so they will do whatever they possibly can to support those plants, so that those plants go through the process of photosynthesis and deliver sugars to them. So the mycorrhizal mycelium will support those plants in bringing nutrients and water to them when they need it. so they're kind of the super highways for a lot of the nutrient exchange to the plants. And so that's one of the ways, like I said, is they will surround the root hairs, and then some of them will actually penetrate. They will be allowed to penetrate through the roots and actually set up shop in between the root cells. So then they exchange nutrients via that way. So those are ecto and endo mycorrhizals. So endo meaning in, and ecto meaning outside. So the ones that surround the root hairs or the roots are the ecto mycorrhizals, and the endo mycorrhizals are the ones that actually penetrate into the root system.
Would you like a short version of that?
Go ahead, Kat. I don't have a short version. I'm like, I can't shorten that down anymore. That's all I got.
So mycorrhizal fungi are fungi that live in symbiosis with plants. And they exchange water and nutrients to the plants, and they receive sugars from the plants. So it's a beneficial relationship for both the fungus and the plant.